Are you searching for the perfect love? You can't purchase it, you perfect love. Don't be searching for the perfect love unless I let you searching for someone inside yourself.
Welcome back to the Women in Hip Hop Wednesdays podcast. I'm your host, your music midwife and nerdy hip hop homegirl, Coco Peila. I'm an MC, singer, record producer, songwriter, songwriting coach, and the MC is the part that qualifies me to take you on this journey. Y'all notice every intro I kind of add in another thing? I'm like, I'm your host. I'm a MC, gardener. I don't know. It's my Leo moon. I just can't resist letting y'all know that I got special things, talents and such. So welcome back. I'm so glad you're joining me again. This episode is our breaking down segment. And this came from y'all requesting that I share more of my own music. As the host, I've gotten a chance to interview so many amazing women in hip hop and will continue to. But on popular demand, y'all were asking more about my life, my experiences, my journey in my career as a hip hop artist, as a musician, and a cultural organizer, and to know more of my actual songs. Today is a super, oh, wait a minute. I forgot to tell y'all about last week. So last week, we introduced a new segment called Who She Thinks She Is. We kind of delved into the importance of women in hip hop as, in a way, leaders of women's liberation, and the importance of Black women and girls' liberation and Black women and girls being central to our own lives, and how being a female MC, being a woman in hip hop is just very much revolutionary, and the why behind that. And then I also invited y'all to do something really special along with me. If you missed that episode, feel free to go back to the homepage and click it. It's called Who She Thinks She Is. But this week, I'm super juiced because this breaking down is a little bit different than any of the breaking downs before, because previously we've done breaking down of a song that's already released. This week, give me a little drum roll. I'm gonna just imagine y'all giving me a drum roll so I could give you a little shimmy. Brrr. This week, we are breaking down a song off of Confessions of a Black Feminist Rapper Part 2, trigger warning. And this song is actually also going to be, it is on my forthcoming album, same name as this cassette tape. But as some of y'all know, this cassette tape is a special limited edition cassette tape for real. Yes. Mixtape version that has 8 of the tracks off the forthcoming album, including this song called Slut Shame. Yes, you heard it. Slut Shame. So I'm excited about sharing it because, as some of y'all know, my forthcoming album is being delivered in a capsule. The capsule is a care package that includes a vinyl record, a digital download code, a rhyme book that is basically the lyrics of each song, plus some songwriting prompts, because I am a songwriting coach, or rather a music midwife, which is a songwriting coach, but better, baby. And, have years and years, decades of facilitating songwriting workshops, working with artists one-on-one, creating my own music, writing my own songs and record production. And so I also wanted to give y'all an opportunity as you listen to these very personal tracks on this project to also get a chance to try your hand at songwriting. Now, you may already be a musician, a recording artist, a performing artist, a hip hop artist, or you may not. That doesn't mean you can't write your own songs. Music is your birthright as a human being. it is innate. We are all artists and we are all creative. So don't let this capitalist society try to sell you artistry and creativity. You already have it within you. And music as well. You got it inside of you. But the rhyme book that comes in the capsule, you can respond to these songwriting prompts as a journal prompt, free form, short story, poetry, rapping, singing, like song lyrics. So it's totally up to you. You can do a 5-sentence paragraph or, an essay form, whatever you want to do. But all of that comes in the capsule, plus a tour pass to my tour is coming up. We had to move it to 2027 because I got very sick this and last year and have been, figuring that out. But I'll tell y'all about that some other day, another time. But in 2027, I'm going to do a secret location tour. When we were first pre-selling the albums, the first 10 people to buy the album capsules got to pick the city in which the concert was going to be at. So we have these secret location concerts. I can tell y'all about that a different episode, but that's what the capsule was. So 11 people pre-ordered. One person got 2 capsules, pre-ordered the capsule first for $1,000, then for $2,000. It now goes for $2,500. And I promise you, I'm not shamelessly promoting the capsule, but it's significant because these songs are not going to be on streaming platforms. There's a lot of issues that I have, particularly with Spotify and the way that they're using their funds to invest in aspects of AI and war and political aspects of fascism that I just don't align with. But also, I really want y'all to have something special. Everything that I create, from this cassette tape to the album capsule to my prints, which you can see all around me, are meant to be assets, valuable, assets that are limited, that are not mass produced, that are going to appreciate and value over time. And so this is not just about like product placement and marketing and selling you shit. I want y'all, when you invest in me, I want to invest in you. When you invest in me as an independent hip hop artist, a Black woman owned business, when you invest in me as a Black female entrepreneur, as a Black female cultural organizer, all these things, I want you to also be investing in yourself and to have something real, not something in the fucking cloud that can be revoked and then you have to pay money to re-access something you already bought, not something that eventually you can no longer access because the technology has changed so much that it doesn't work any longer. Not something that then I get to monitor the things that you look at on YouTube and online so I can like manipulate you to buy more things or whatever, like this shady stuff that be going on. But something that you can hold, touch, feel, that is going to build up your assets and that you can decide to resell at a higher price one day. You could pass it down to other people in your family or community. And that's what we're doing here with me and with my business and with my music. And so I'm excited about this episode of Breaking Down because Slut Shame is not available on streaming platforms, will never be. Might be played on the radio, might get placed in commercials and movies, but for now, the only place that you can find it is on this limited edition cassette tape. And there are only 33 left. There's 50 total, 33 left. Go to cocopeila.com/cassette. I'm like, wait, which one is it? To order yours. Now through June 7th, I am covering the cost of shipping, which is considerable in and outside of the US. And it comes with a Walkman. I'm gifting you a Walkman. Yes, a Walkman. You see my Walkman over here? You see it. I know you see it. Okay. It's amazing. Get yours. But I wanted to give y'all a chance to hear Slut Shame. Now, Slut Shame, pretty intense name, but guess what? Being a woman, sexism and male domination, sexual exploitation, sexual violence, sexual assault, intimate partner violence, Black Femicide, domestic violence, child abuse, right? Child sexual abuse. Those are pretty intense, right? The shame that has been taught to us as women and girls is pretty intense. So for me, I was born on the West Coast. I grew up and down the West Coast. We lived a couple other places. I was born in 1987. I moved to Pasadena in 98 to live with my father. I went to school in LA at a school called Marcus Garvey. Big shout out to Marcus Garvey. I lived in Sacramento, moved to the Bay when I was 14 years old, grew up in Berkeley with family in San Francisco, Oakland, Richmond, and Berkeley, and moved to Oakland when I was 19. So I grew up around West Coast hip hop and around the griminess and the gangster rap of it all. And something that I think is so dope about being a woman in hip hop is that to me, and my homegirl, Miss Me, who's from Oakland, California, she's a rapper, a songwriter, a host. She has a show that she hosts. And I remember she collaborated on a project with me and she was talking about women being some of the most gangster folks. Like we get played down like we're soft and we're this and we're that. But actually the truth is that we have to be quite gangster, whether or not we're dressing in a way that communicates we're gangster or we're speaking in that way. To be a woman or a girl off top, the things that we have to navigate, we have our own separate battlefield that we navigate that's very invisibilized. And so I love that about being a Black woman and girl. I love being able to talk about Black women and girls' liberation, about the oppression that we experience and my experiences from that place of realness, right? And I remember, thinking growing up, hearing 50 Cent, hearing The Locks, hearing NWA, hearing these different artists talk about their experience, Nipsey Hussle, I could go on, right? There's a long list. And I think that I was always like, oh, that's so interesting. Like, if only people understood that what we go through is so dangerous, is so gangster, is so, you have to be so on point, and that people weren't really seeing women's, because our lives and our experiences and the oppression we experience gets trivialized, right? And as Black women and girls. And so slut shame is like a part of that. And I'm going to play it for you, and then I'm going to read out the lyrics and break down a little bit more of it, and then we're going to wrap up. And that's how we're going to do today. But I am very excited about y'all getting a chance to hear it because, not everyone is in the position just yet to invest in a limited edition cassette tape, Walkman, package. Oh, and it also comes with a handwritten note. Y'all, it's so fresh. It's so fly. And because I see the back end of my analytics on social media and on these videos, I be seeing how many eyes are on the way that I be rolling this shit out and what I'm doing as an entrepreneur, as a businesswoman. And there's a lot more people with their eyes on it, picking up the game, studying, replicating, kind of trying to on the low, than are like engaged and commenting and stuff like that. Like a lot. Sometimes I get a post, I'll post about some shit I'm doing. It'll get like 23 likes, but on the back end, I'll see there are like thousands of views, right? Or like a lot of people sending it to themselves or sending it to other people. And I'm very proud of that. Could be arrogance, could be my Aquarian, like bigging up my intellect, but I feel super proud of that. And I'm proud of that because I feel like I do it for us. I do it for hip hop. I do it for the women. I do it for artists. But all right, let's get into Slut Shame. This beat was produced by a producer named Slim Hoodie. Big shout out to Slim Hoodie from Brooklyn. Always try to remember to shout out the producers that make my beats. All right. And without further ado, here it is. Slut Shame. Off my next project. Off my current project. Shit. Let me stop playing. Let me stop playing. Hey, 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 hey.
Slim Hoodie made this
Hopped in the passenger side of Leah Joy's whip to snatch up my mama, run up, threaten her pimp. Wanted to know why I ain't quick to spread them and gift this. I wanted to know why the fuck they thought this was their business. But since I'm ready now, I'm telling. See, it's some cold shit when your mama pussy selling. Listen, don't get it twisted. My mama ain't a villain, a Madonna or a whore. It is more complex than they think to be a woman. Woman or a girl, they ain't even scratch the surface, understanding what our world like. What a whole life living as the second class to the men in the world. We do more than half the world's labor, receive a fraction of the resource. It's the truth, bro. What you mad at me for? Every sister, my sister, that's my gang. So it ain't no slut shame in my gang. Slut shame, they want to slut shame. They don't understand what it is to come up dames. They don't like I'm loud and opinionated. Fuck them. Mama brought me down to get busy and cut up, man. Slut shame, they want to slut shame. They don't understand what it is to come up dames. They don't like I'm loud and opinionated. Fuck them. Mama brought me down to get busy and cut up, man. I ain't from Oakland, but don't push me. Searching for a real love, stingy with the pussy. But it don't mean I'm passing judgment on the women doing they thing, or those abused and exploited. Sexism, it stings, it cuts, it kills. Don't understand what we been through, navigating all them thin lines. It should've sent you in a tailspin. Trying to fit in or avoid the box. It's deeper than bitch or queen. Virgin or hoe is toxic. What? The narratives. Us, they scaring with the scary shit. Is teaching little girls that what they wearing is the reason they get violated. People touching, staring. Appearance is the reason they receiving love and caring. I see you see me speaking, but you act like you ain't hearing, huh? Every sister is my sister, that's my gang. So it ain't no slut shame in my gang. Slut shame, they want to slut shame. They don't understand what it is to come up dames. They don't like I'm loud and opinionated. Fuck them. Mama brought me down to get busy and cut up, man. Slut shame, they want to slut shame. They don't understand what it is to come up dames. They don't like I'm loud and opinionated. Fuck them. Mama brought me down to get busy and cut up. Y'all see this box right here? This box right here? What's up, y'all? There are only 33 cassette tapes left. What cassette tapes, you ask? Well, I'm so glad that you asked. These are Confessions of a Black Feminist Rapper Part 2, Trigger Warning, mixtapes. Yes, the album actually drops in December, but in the meantime and between time, I wanted y'all to get a little picture, to hear the concepts, to hear the sounds that are going to be on the album. So there are 8 tracks from my forthcoming album on this cassette tape. Yes, it's a real cassette tape, an old school cassette tape. And each cassette tape comes with a Walkman and a handwritten note from me. This is actually one that's about to go out. I'm about to ship it tomorrow. And literally it comes, you know, I bubble wrap it. I'm nice with it, okay? It comes with a cassette tape and a handwritten note for me. There are 33 left out of 50. Expect them to sell out. Do not play. The songs are dope. The lyricism is dope. The content is dope. And when you snatch one of these limited edition cassette mixtapes, you also get a ticket to my next event, Altars for Our Inner Children, which I'm throwing in partnership with Creative Wildfire, which is organizations, Movement Generation, Art Co-op, New Economy Coalition, and Climate Justice Alliance. I'm super juiced about this because this is a relationship justice project, and they're sharing funding with me so that now, in addition to you have the different ticket levels, but there's also a pay what you can option for survivors who don't have the means to either pay for the ticket at all or pay the full price. Everyone is welcome. These resources, this community, this space should be available to folks no matter what their situation is at the moment. So big shout out to Creative Wildfire. Thank you so much for this. At this event, I'm going to be sharing a new song that I've been working on, also in partnership with Creative Wildfire, about relationship justice, about the intersections between what we see in intimate partner violence, sexual assault, sexual violence, violence against women and girls, child sexual abuse, domestic violence, sexual exploitation, the connections between that and the rise in fascism, the wars happening, the armed conflicts happening throughout the world, and why it's so important that we believe survivors, that we take what we are saying seriously, and we start really connecting the dots and drawing the lines between the systems of oppression and these symptoms of oppression, and who is getting targeted by these systems and why. And so I'm so juiced to be throwing this event again. If you want to know more about it, I actually already did a video, an episode called Altars for Our Inner Children, where you can learn more about how it went last time. This time we're going to be sharing that song. DJ KK47 will be in the mix. Of course, if you grab a cassette mixtape, you'll get a ticket, and you can also get general admission tickets. The way that I teach my workshops is really dope because you can do the expressive arts version and create your physical altar, or you can write a song or do a journal entry. And so I'm really excited about this party and getting to facilitate this songwriting altar making workshop for survivors and their allies on the 7th of June at 2 p.m. right here in New York City at the university. Of course, just as last time, you'll be able to join online from anywhere in the world if you'd like to, or if you just, can't make it in that day because of what's going on with your body or whatever the case may be. So come join us on June 7th at 2 p.m. at the university. Make sure you snatch your shit up ASAP, because I'm telling you, there are 33 today, and I bet you tomorrow it's going to be 32, and so on and so forth. So snatch it up at cocopeila.com/cassette. CASSETTE. Okay, I love y'all, for real, for real. So let's get straight into it, because the lyrics speak for themselves, as they should. Verse 1, hopped in the passenger side of Leah Joy's whip to snatch up my mama, run up, threaten her pimp, wanted to know why I ain't quick to spread them and gift this. I wanted to know why the fuck they thought this was their business, but since I'm ready now, I'm telling. See, it's some cold shit when your mama pussy selling. Listen, don't get it twisted. My mama ain't a villain, a Madonna, or a whore. It is more complex than they think to be a woman. Woman or a girl, they ain't even scratched the surface understanding what our world like, what a whole life, living as the second class. To the men in the world, we do more than half the world's labor, receive a fraction of the resource. It's the truth, bro. What you mad at me for? Every sister, my sister, that's my gang. So it ain't no slut shame in my gang. Okay, so during my 20s, there was a 6-year period where I was celibate. I was coming out of a very dysfunctional, abusive relationship with someone who didn't fully want to claim me publicly, but was living with me and also cheating on me. So like privately we were together, but publicly we weren't together. But also we were living privately as if it was just us. And I was being told it was just us, right? Really toxic relationship. There's more to that story. I addressed that relationship in a lot of different ways on this project. But during the relationship, I was in a deep process of like prayer and meditation and like trying to reconnect with, or just, I guess, not reconnect, but like have a deeper connection with God, have a deeper spiritual connection. I felt like I was out of alignment. During this period, I was praying a lot, as I do, and I got the message. It was on my spirit. I heard the voice of God say, you need to be celibate. Now, respectability politics aside, I was like, I remember the moment too. I was cooking and he was in the living room and I was cooking at the stove and I was thinking to myself, I'm like, but God, we live together. It's like, God, I'm in a relationship and the message just kept coming. You need to be celibate. Like you do not need to be having sex with this person. And it was on Thanksgiving. I'll tell y'all that story another time. It was on Thanksgiving. I quote it because Thanksgiving is a horrible holiday that celebrates genocide. But, and it took me a whole year from that message coming to me to actually set that boundary and share, set and enforce that boundary with the person that I was with. Shortly after I set that boundary, I feel like it was like within 5 months, the relationship ended. I changed the locks on the apartment, all the things. This is important backstory because then I was like, okay, I'll be celibate. I'm thinking I'm gonna be celibate for a year, maybe, I don't know, a year and a half, kind of like get grounded, get into a healthy relationship. It ended up being a 6-year period. And during that period, I dated and I was rapping and recording and writing throughout and performing throughout that whole period. And so a lot of my songs had like punchlines about being celibate and da-da-da-da-da. And people were like, other women might feel like shamed by the fact that you're like talking about being celibate, because I was holding it up as something that was like, I do feel like that made me better. Well, I'm celibate. I'm not going to let you disrespect me. But it came from a place of internalized sexism because of what I grew up with, experiencing myself, how I grew up being disrespected and abused, and also watching my mother, who had 6 different children by 6 different, baby daddies. And people tore her to shreds, especially behind her back, gossiped about her, talked hella mess about her, and shamed her and felt entitled to shaming her and judging her because of her being promiscuous, called her a hoe, whore, slut, this and that. Even I remember her sharing with me that in her 20s, her father, my grandfather, called her a whore. I don't remember the full context, but to me, like, she's a young adult woman at this point, and her father, with the power of being the patriarch of the family, to say something like that to me indicated, something being deeply off in my family, in her family. And then, I think I've shared this somewhat that, most of my life, my mother was on drugs. She passed away almost 3 years ago of an overdose. And so I, as the eldest daughter of 6 children from her children, I was always told, and kind of not directly and directly, basically to not be like my mother. So I spent a lot of my life trying to define myself by those respectability politics. Oh, well, I'm not promiscuous. I'm not promiscuous like her. I'm not this like her. I'm not going to use drugs like her. I'm not going to. And so that fear of being cast out and excluded and ostracized and pushed to the fringes of society and thrown away and gossiped about and judged and criticized and attacked really oftentimes manifested as my own internalized oppression of wanting to not be defined by that. And So Slut Shame came about with me talking about one of the experiences that I had with my mother where, I had to holler at my homegirl because I didn't have a car at the time and be like, hey, you know, can you come swoop me up? We gotta go pick my mama up. She's on E14, East 14th. She's on International, which is like a well-known what people would call a hoe stroll where, women are being exploited, sexually exploited. And so this song opens with me getting into the passenger side of my homegirl Leah Joy's car and us like skirting off to go grab my mom. She was with the pimp that she had called me and told me that she was like in a situation and she needed help. She needed me to come down and grab her. And so this is what happened in this situation. And, we pull up on her, we pop out the car, she jumps in the car, I run up on her pimp. At the time, I was like 19, and I'm like, if anything ever happens to my mama, I'm gonna kill you, right? Meanwhile, I'm 19. I had never shot a gun before. I am what they call in the Bay Area a square ass poodle. Okay. So, like, it was purely my own kind of parentified maternal instinct and my kind of my mama bear instinct that kicked in and made me feel with all that adrenaline pumping through my body like I could take on this guy who I'm sure was like 6'5". I'm 6'1". And my little 19-year-old ass, like, I'm gonna kill you. And I remember him just looking down at me and he smirked, like just side of his face, like, and I don't know, maybe he recognized the protection that he would do the same thing for his own mama. I don't know. Mama, get in the car. She get in the back seat. I hop in. Leah Joy pull off. If anyone has ever met Leah Joy, she be driving. Yeah, she got bars. But she pull out and we're out. And, the thing is that when someone says that like women are like soft and shallow and dainty and all this, I'm just like, y'all just don't fucking understand like the things we have to navigate. And so when all of these like sexual assault, child sexual abuse, sexual exploitation instances get revealed, Black femicide, murder and domestic violence and abuse, intimate partner violence get revealed in the media and in these documentaries, no survivor is surprised. Black women have been trying to tell y'all for hella long, right? And so my mother is not a Black woman. My mother is a white woman. And so I have thought to myself as a Black woman, looking at her life and how her life ended, and this is what happened to a white woman who was raised middle class, whose parents had money. What of the dark-skinned Black women who didn't come from money and didn't have any of the protection of whiteness and white supremacy or classism or somebody to bail them out, right? Or send them money or whatever the case may be. So that has really colored my perspective. And my mom was also not a monolith. Like, some people might hear this and be like, oh, that's crazy. She's telling all her mom's business. Her mama's a prostitute. My mom was also an entrepreneur. My mom was also a musician. She was a classically trained flutist, She was creative. She was loving. She was generous. Like, she would literally meet somebody on the street and, like, bring them into our house, which was not always safe. But she was very generous, So, again, this is why I'm saying it's more complex than what y'all think. And this is part of what made me become a feminist, become a woman who is for women and girls, because I saw the inside of of my mother's life, my own life, and the ways that people treated her and had completely double standards for the men. Chorus goes, slut shame. They want to slut shame. They don't understand what it is to come up dance. They don't like them loud and opinionated. Fuck them. Mama brought me down to get busy and cut up, man. Very self-explanatory. Verse 2. I ain't from Oakland, but don't push me. Shout out to Tupac. Searching for a real love, stingy with the pussy. Shout out to Mary J. Blige. The first part of the sentence. But it don't mean I'm passing judgment on the women doing their thing or those abused and exploited. Sexism, it stings, it cuts, it kills. Don't understand what we've been through, navigating all them thin lines. This shit has send you in a tailspin. Trying to fit in or avoid the boxes deeper than bitch or queen. Virgin or hoe is toxic. What? The narratives. Us, they scaring with the scary shit is teaching little girls that what they wearing is the reason they get violated. People touching, staring. Appearance is the reason they receiving love and caring. Now I see you see me speaking, but you act like you ain't hearing, huh? Every sister is my sister. That's my gang. So it ain't no slut shame in my game, right? It's self-explanatory, but I want to focus on two things before we close up. One is, it don't mean I'm passing judgment on the women doing their thing or those abused and exploited. Sexism, it stings, it cuts, it kills. Don't understand what we've been through. Again, this is what y'all don't get about sexism and male domination, or what some folks refer to solely as the patriarchy. It is responsible for taking the lives of women. If women survive the things that we have been through, we may survive physically intact, but emotionally and mentally, there is then healing to do on many levels to reclaim ourselves and put ourselves, back together. No, we're not broken, but psychologically, this is why I talk about those who are perpetrating this type of violence and abuse and oppression on women. They're being tools for the oppression. They're being soldiers for the oppression. They're putting women back in their place. This is why people be like, oh, speak up. Why are women passive aggressive? Oh, why didn't she talk about it? Why didn't she report it to the police? This is a systemic issue. And these moments, whether it be in childhood, like child sexual abuse, that then makes women and girls more vulnerable to get into relationships where there's intimate partner abuse, then makes women and girls more vulnerable to stay in those relationships, to be looked upon as expendable, as not as valuable as, well, she chose to do that with her life. And so on. It makes us much more vulnerable to end up getting into the life, being more vulnerable to getting into, street drugs and such, and, the streets. There's a lot to say about that, but this is what part of what this is talking about. Stop trivializing sexism. Stop trivializing when we say we don't want to be called a bitch, or we don't want to be called a hoe, or we don't want to be sexualized, if that's our choice. Listen to us, listen to our stories, because we're speaking about not some little trivial, shallow shit. We're talking about life or death. We're talking about the pervasive, unending assaults on our eyes, on our ears, on our dignity, on our bodies, on our self-worth. On our sense of self, on our sense of what's possible, on our voices, our ability to speak up for ourselves. So much more to say about that. The last piece I wanted to zoom in on this verse is, what? The narratives, us, they scaring with. The scary shit is teaching little girls that what they wearing is the reason they get violated. People touching, staring. Appearance is the reason they receiving love and caring. Now, I see you see me speaking, but you act like you ain't hearing, huh? This is the piece where we teach little girls that it's their fault if someone crosses their boundaries, doesn't ask to touch them. And if they don't fully rebuke it, if they don't fully push back, but at the same time, we teach little girls to be kind, warm, nice, accommodating. Don't hurt their feelings. Be nice. Give so-and-so a hug. Give so-and-so a kiss. Won't-de, won't-de, won't. We beat our kids when they tell us no or when they throw a fit, right? So we essentially teach girls to be a certain version of feminine that really has to do with self-abandoning and acquiescing and only valuing, only expecting love if they fit the beauty mold of others, right? Appearance is the reason they receive and love and care. And now I see you see me speaking, but you act like you ain't hearing, huh? Right? So think about those things intersecting. It's our fault if we look a certain way, too attractive, too sexy, too pretty. On the other hand, why would we expect anyone to love us if we don't keep ourselves up, if we don't look a certain type of feminine and attractive and sexy and blah, blah, blah? It's contradicting itself, right? It's a catch-22. So we're blaming girls for the sexual violence that they experience, but we're also telling girls that the only way to be a girl and to be feminine is to look a certain way, which oftentimes has these overly sexualized aspects to them. And even if it's not overly sexualized and it's supposed to be modest, it's also supposed to lead towards partnership and in the long term, sex and procreation, right? So it's a very it's complex what we experience. So of course, this version of the song ends with the chorus, which you heard, which I already went over. But yeah, this is Slut Shame. Hip hop is a conversation. So what the fuck is you saying, right? I'm saying it's time to stop slut shaming women and girls. And it's time for us also as women and girls to interrogate where have we been shamed and where does the way that we move through the world, even if we're not meaning to shame other women, right, or engage in the internalized oppression and internalized sexism and compete against others by saying, I'm this type of woman, where do we sometimes play into that with each other? And I'm saying, don't tell me it ain't that deep. It is that deep. And if you think it's not that deep, maybe you need to think again, take a deeper look at it. So, and let's create a world where sexual violence, child sexual abuse, sexual assault, intimate partner violence, domestic violence doesn't happen to anyone, but doesn't happen to women and girls, right? I love y'all. For real, for real.